Hey guys, today we're going to be repurposing this little car USB charger thing. As you can see here, this used to have a micro USB connector on it, but that got pulled off unfortunately. But anyway, you can see that, and also you'll notice that this has a heat shrink on it, and that was because I've already repaired this adapter once because the wires broke off from the connector, so I cut the protective, like the thing that's supposed to do strain relief like this. I cut that off and just soldered wires straight to the connector and then put heat shrink over it, and it works fine usually. And then somehow the actual connector got pulled off, and then these are the connections from the inside of the connector. So anyway, what I'm going to be doing today is just adding a standard USB port. Now, if you don't know where to get a USB port at, you can pull them out of old computers or old wall chargers or whatever else. You can also buy these things on Amazon for about $2 for 10 of them. So anyway, plan is basically this is going to end up glued to the side of here. Then you can plug in whatever USB cable you want to use and have a charger for that instead of just micro USB, since this broke off. But anyway, it should be a fairly simple soldering project, so let's get to it. Alright, so first off we'll go ahead and cut off however much wire we're going to need. So probably cut it off to about there. There'll be a little loop hanging out of this, but that's alright. If you really wanted to, you could probably connect this connector to the end of this as well if you wanted that to be longer and have this weird stretchy cord thing on it. But anyway, I'd rather just have it sucked straight onto the side of the charger. So anyway, go ahead and strip this back very carefully without cutting into the wiring on the inside, which is pretty hard to do. So take your time with this part. Alright, so when it comes to soldering on this connector, first thing you'll notice is I've gone ahead and I've shorted those two data pins out. What that does is that indicates to your Android phone that this charger is capable of putting out an amp. Or technically that standard's supposed to be for an amp and a half, but well, nowadays it's basically just been adopted as 1 amp. And that's what, well, my cell phone at least is rated to charge at an amp. Some of them nowadays are 2 amps and quick charge enabled, that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to let it sit at 1 amp. And with this connector facing this direction, the far left pin will be the ground and the far right pin will be the positive power. And if you can see on the inside of that connector there, there we go, those contacts on the inside of the connector are facing up at this point, so you can see that pin's ground on this side. And I've gone ahead and I've tinned the wires on the port, or the wires on the charger, as well as the contacts on the port there. And I've also broken off these little tab things that are for mounting it, and I just took a pair of pliers and bent those back and forth. Alright, so I've soldered those on. See how that goes on there. That's the way that it was before, but we'll give this a quick little test here and see if it's actually outputting voltage or not. There we go. So we have, come on with the voltage. Okay, so about 5.47 volts, so that's working just fine, at least until the alligator clip fell off the connection there. So the last thing that I need to do is glue this connector onto the side, and I'm also going to do the insulation on these wires with glue here, so the whole thing's just going to end up being covered. But I'll have to bend these connections downwards like so, and then just hook that up or glue that to the side of this thing, and that should work reasonably well. Alright, so this is the finished product. I've just glued the connector into the side of here. Fairly simple. Doesn't look the best, but if it works, I mean, it doesn't really matter. So this is just a good way to I mean, these little chargers are cheap anyway, but still, it's a good way to repurpose them. Let's just make sure that I still have an output here. There we go. Alright, so that seems to work just fine, and I'm sure it'll still charge a phone just fine. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this little video on repurposing one of these cell phone chargers. So anyway, see you next time, guys. Bye.